This video is a comparison of some different sounds that I was able to get out of a PV6505 Plus 112 combo amplifier as I performed different modifications to the unit. The amplifier you see behind me is my 6505 Plus. I've had this amp for a while. It's my favorite amplifier. The 6505 line from PV is my favorite family of amplifiers. I love the sound they make, which is amazing for hard rock and heavy metal, which is what kind of music I like to make. And this particular iteration is just my favorite iteration of the line. So I've had this amp for a while. I know it very well, and I've gotten to know its shortcomings very well. So I've decided to perform modifications to it in order to kind of round out its versatility and maybe find new use for it here in my little studio. The primary change I made to the amplifier is I swapped out the stock PV Sheffield speaker for a Celestion Vintage 30 from the late 90s. As far as changes to the actual amplifier circuit go, the first thing I did was I modified the resonance controls of the power amplifier section and shifted them down a little bit in the frequency spectrum. So there will be less overlap between that control and the actual bass controls found in the preamplifier section. I didn't really touch the lead channel because I've always loved the lead channel. I love how it sounds. I don't really want to mess with a good thing. The rhythm channel, however, has been heavily revoiced. I've changed the EQ values to be more like a Marshall amplifier. I have revoiced the gain structure quite a lot, so you get a more organic sweep of gain as you turn the pot. And then finally, I've added a little bit of extra bass, especially at lower gain values, so you have something that sounds and feels a little bit more like a Fender. I've also performed a modification to the FX loop in the back. You won't hear that in this video, but it just added a little more transparency when using effects in the loop. You're first going to hear the rhythm clean channel in two scenarios, on its own and then in a mix setting. So in each of those you're going to hear it stock, then you're going to hear it after I've changed the speaker only, and then you'll hear it after I've changed the speaker and performed the amplifier circuit modifications. And then we'll do it again for the rhythm crunch mode and then the lead channel. I have frozen all of the controls in the exact same positions for everything you're going to hear. I've also placed the microphone in the exact same spot for everything you're going to hear. It's a Shure SM57, placed straight on the grill, and then it is positioned right over the edge of the dust cap, which for these two speakers, the dust cap's the exact same size. I've also taken guitar DIs and I'm actually reamping them, so you're hearing the exact same guitar performance for everything. Something to note about this amplifier, by the way, is that the rhythm channel doesn't have a bright switch, which is on the 6505 Plus head. That's because internally, the bright switch, you could view it as the bright switch is always hardwired to be on. So just something to keep in mind, the rhythm channel is always in bright mode. And then finally, for the mix scenarios, it is a slightly different mix each time because, in fairness, if given this amplifier, regardless of if it's modded or whatever, I have to make it sound as good as possible. So the mix is always going to be ever so slightly different in regards to the rhythm guitars. Let's get to some listening.